Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going through the trade targets for round 5 of the SuperCoach season, of which we have quite a few guys on the bubble, or at least a couple guys that should be playing on the bubble, which should be good for cash generation, as well as having a couple guys on one or two games that on one game that have really stood out and scored decently enough that their break even is already negative. So anyway, let's just jump into this video. Like I attempted to do, I should say, on the fantasy video. I'm going to try and keep this one short. I know the fantasy one was 18-19 minutes, so going to try and keep this one a little bit shorter. Bice, if you didn't have him, you would, like, that was the most obvious one that was out there. He'd scored, I think, what was it, a 99 or something the week before? 96, I think, against Frio. You had the week to remember he was on the bye and to be in, like, blinking colors that, yeah, grab him in, and he went up 89k. And like I said on the live on Monday, if he scores 100, he goes up another 100k. Sorry, not 100k. He only goes up 88k next week, which pretty much matches 89k. So yeah, if he went 120, I mean, we can just do this here and go through. Give me a quick second with the pricing projector here. And then go to the defenders, and then I will grab up the Bicey boy. And then if we say he's going to go 123, he went in the end, he goes up 100k. So if he matches what he did on the weekend, what does he need to go up by to only go up by 100? He needs about 116, 117 to go up by 100, depending on magic number. So yeah, if he goes up 100k, that would be ridiculous. And then if we just put him, say he's going to average, because he's averaging, what's he gone? He's gone 96 and 123. That is, or was it 124 that he went? What did he get? 124. So he's averaging 220. So he's averaging 110. So let's just put a 95, 105, and another like 100 here. If he goes 116 to get the 100k. Cash generation, then a 105 and a 100. He's gone in 3 weeks in SuperCoach. We're talking SuperCoach here, not fantasy. He's gone up 227.7k. 227.7k, and in a 3-week span, he goes from 113, or I think 113, was it? Yeah, 113 makes sense. 113.5 to 431.1 in 4 weeks. That is 317.6k in 4 weeks. If he goes and does this run of 116, 105, 100, which would be ridiculous, which he shouldn't do. But if he does, then man, oh man, is he going to be, well, he's going to be almost a keeper at that point. But getting a keeper for 113 would be really ridiculous. But yeah, he could possibly do that, but I don't think he will. But I think he'll be mega cash, and I think he could be 300k cash in like 5-6 weeks. That's what I'm looking at with him. Clay Hall, I think, is the obvious one. If you look at his stats here, if he scores a 60 or something like that, which is, it is very obvious. I should say very possible for Hall to score 60. If we just go here, let's put the Clay Hall in just to grab him up. And then let's just say he grabs and scores a 60, which he's gone, I think, what is it here? What was his also his percentage? 76% CBA. That's a really good CBAs. But he's gone 88, 68. I think he could do 70 is about right, I feel like. So we priced him at 60, going up 64k, then 36, and then 23. But if we price him at going at an average of 70, then he goes up 69k, 43k, and 33k. So that would get him up to 276.1 in 3-week span if he went 70 back to back to back. There's also potential for Tim Kelly to be dropped. Talked about him enough on the Monday night live for you guys across the multiple weeks that he isn't a good enough footballer, and he's sort of checked out, and there were some people defending him, but looks like hopefully West Coast make the decision to drop him and play the youth players, because they just need guys that are going to put effort out there. They looked absolutely horrific in the midfield. Dudley, understand that if you need a forward guy, but I don't think many need a forward guy. I think we're recycling midfielders at the moment. Trainer, just hold him for a while. Neil Erasmus on the bubble. Archer Reeds has somehow generated an actual break even. good enough after a 9 in his system. So yeah, he's going to go up cash now, we expect, which kind of sucks for those that have the likes of Harry Boyd, because Archer Reed's the guy that's just gotten the role. It's been solidified, and now he's going to go up in cash, and could even get Archer Reed as a forward, but I think you'd rather Dudley, who's a lot cheaper and serves the same function as the likes of Archer Reed, and has the potential for going, I think, even larger than Archer Reed. Brock, we wait a week. Morea's still going to make cash, but probably a bench product or an M8 at this point. Collard, no. Davidson's still going to make cash. We know that. It sucks that he had a down game, but he's still making so much cash. Travalia is someone that I've definitely looked into just because of job security, but if we see that Tim Kelly's been dropped, I'd much rather Clay Hall immediately. If Tim Kelly gets dropped, I'd much rather Clay Hall, because that job security, even if it's just 2 or 3 weeks of him going 70, then that's enough cash generation. We showed it. It's enough cash generation. He gets up to 242. If he just goes 70, and there could be a spike score. Say he randomly, and it's possible, he did it before, say he goes 90, and then a 70. That gets him up to 258. That's huge. So that's what I'm looking at there in terms of him. And then we're done with break evens now. So if you want to just go over coach's choice, that'll be that. So let's go to coach's choice and go to round change. So Clay Hall, obvious one people are buying into. He's the guy that's on the bubble. That is the best on the bubble guy to grab into. Riley Bice, obvious as well if you hadn't had him, but I think a lot of people do. Let's actually go to what is the top 10% doing? Because I'm just outside the top 10%, but I'm 12%, so a good round here will get me close to top 10%, I'm pretty sure. So let's just jump into this. So Clay Hall, the obvious trade-in, was only 0.2% owned in the top 10%, but is now upwards of 33% owned, so a third of the top 10%, which would, if you think about that would put top 10% at about 18,000 or so. And yeah, I am currently in the top 12%. So yeah, top 10% is 18.4k. I am 21.8k, if you remember from Monday night's video. So I'm not that far off. That's almost just a captaincy score. I'm about 30 points off being included in this bracket, and I can do that next week. Riley Bice, for those that didn't have him, he's now 92% owned. So for the 7.8% that don't have him in the top 10%, I'd be worried. Horner Francis, 14.8% owned. Ownership rise. I'd love to have seen do we have stats on his ownership changes? Season stats, traded out for maybe, traded in for, let's just see, Will Day, Nathan O'Driscoll. Okay, that's obvious. And then we go, do we have somewhere to see his pick teams? So if we look at this, you look at this and you go, I wish it was able to do just in general, but I can kind of show you how many traded him out. If we just go to ownership and we go to round change here, is he going to turn up somewhere here? Let's just see. If we go to ownership, he should turn up somewhere here. Horn Francis, 45.8% owned. So he's going up 1.2% in the last little bit, but he's gone down 17.5% from his starting position. Shows how many people have traded out of him, and some people are already trading back into him. Let's just go coach's choice, top 10% again, and then go out of Horn Francis, even though it's really slow. Go to round change here. You've got Lucky Whitfield. That's a really good choice, I feel like, as well. Some guy that I've actually looked at heavily, and that's just solely based on the fact of I'm trying to figure out the best way forward to get Nick Dacos in a week or two. If he gets through the tag at Sydney, he's going skyward. So yeah, that's why I'm worried about it, and that's why I almost want to have that extra midfield slot open through like a Sinclair or something like that, and so that I can grab up Dacos, but I also haven't really considered how the flex works in that, so I'm going to have to look at that again in the next sort of 48 hours, as yeah, I don't think I have anyone playing from who did Adelaide play to start the round. I don't think I'm going to be trading into any of Adelaide, or who did they play? Adelaide or Geelong. I am not trading into any of them So I have 48 hours to basically make this decision. Sydney, Collingwood. I don't think I have anyone that... No, I'm not going to be training into anyone there. So, yeah. So I could almost make the decision on the Saturday morning if I wanted to, depending on Dacos's score, could depend on what I do. Because if Dacos drops like a 50, say Dacos does a 50 or 40, I might just get the midfielder and go, Dacos is going to take a while to get back to what he needs to be, etc., etc. So yeah, that's just sort of my inner thoughts coming out there. Sarong, like that. He's probably near enough bottomed out, I think. Yeah, 107 break even, 109 projected. He could go large against Richmond. Almost captaincy material. Harry Sheezel, I think he's also bottomed out as well. Near enough around. I know that he played through halfback for like 5 minutes and then went through the midfield. I think that's just the way they got to get Harry Sheezel into the game rather than sit him forward and then he's not in the game for the first 10, 15 minutes. He needs disposals early to get into the game. And that's why, yeah, he did a lot better against Sydney. And admittedly, Sydney just let him do what he wanted because they knew that it was just the other guys that when they kicked it to him, then, when it was in other guys' hands like Daniel and all the key backs, that was when they could strike on the turnover. Neil, yep, understand this pick to a certain degree, but like in the fantasy we talked about, his run coming up, there's still tags there. So just be worried about that. And then, of course, Gawn wouldn't be trading into him at the moment unless a lot of people are probably doing I would hazard a guess this is Flynn, which we'll get to in a second. I just don't want to be continuously flipping between ownership highs and lows in terms of outs and ins. Brayshaw, kind of understand this as well, but we talked about this in fantasy that his marks aren't probably there enough for him to be able to withstand it, especially if Freo go back to a more uncontested style of play. Then I'm be a little bit worried about Brayshaw's scoring potential, but we'll just see how that plays out with Young and Darcy coming back in. Layla, Will Ashcroft, Toby Travalia, yep, understand all these guys. And then let's go to round change outs and just see who's going out. O'Driscoll has a 4 to 6 week knee injury, so you can say goodbye to him. Fraser's starting on the way down now, I believe. I don't know what his break even is, but yeah, he's on the way down. I'm pretty sure. I should have looked at this on my phone, but yeah, 115 for him. Break even wise, that is just not sustainable. Callahan and Rosie, two guys that I've flagged as big trade outs potential for me. Yeah, these three could actually be huge trade outs. Zorko, don't know why people are trading him out. I don't think I've seen an injury anyway. Let's just go to injuries. I swear I haven't seen an injury. Why are people trading out Zorko is a big question. Where is Brisbane? Kitty Coleman, Lohman, McCarthy, Smith, Starcevich. What's the reason for Zorko's 4% trade out? Other than the fact that he scored a 90 odd? He scored a 94 and people are trading him out. I don't get that. I must have missed something. Holmes, yep, the tag threat's there. Jaden Shaw, everyone should just be jumping off soon. What does this say? First time under 130 this season for Zorko in a game that was expected to be big for him. Only had 23 and only 3 contested. Yep, that's just reading that off. Isaac Rankin, trading him out. There is a little bit of question about his calf, but if he can get through, then that should be fine for him. 526k. I'm really looking at him being a potential upgrade in the next couple of weeks. I'm looking at potentially him and like Chad Warner being the guys to finish out my forward line. And that's why I don't think Marek is going to be the type of guy that I want. Because if you look at Marek's scoring, even in Supercoach comparative to Fantasy, he's still only averaging an 88, which isn't even top of the line material. I know he's got a decent enough role, but I'm just worried that he's not going to be top of the line. And especially if he has a bad game by foot, has a couple turnovers, couple clangers early, his disposal, and if he doesn't do well in the first quarter with the way West Coast is playing, he's not going to do well in general because the game's just going to become a blowout. So that's why I'm worried about Marek, I feel like, because he scored, something like 40% of his points in the first quarter. And then, yeah, I understand most of these trade outs are just guys that aren't going to be playing. Flynn trade out there, you can see 2.4%. So what was the other ruck trade out that would have caused Gawn to go up? Let's just go ruck trade outs. Oh, yeah. Gawn went up by 6.5%. Now, 6.5%. Let's try and figure that out. 6.5% between Jackson and Flynn. And that is 11.77. Let's just go down to... I should have done this the other way. I'll do it this way anyway, but 11.77. So he went up by pretty much everyone that transferred Jackson and Flynn went to Gawn rather than Cherry against a Gold Coast is rough. I could understand Briggs as well. Briggs is someone that I've sort of flagged that could be actually really good, but he's playing St Kilda. That could be an interesting matchup. I just don't know if he has that extra 5-10 points of to really jump up. But anyway, that is the video there. Tried to keep it short for you guys, but ended up still running slightly long. That's the video. If you guys did enjoy it, remember to like and subscribe. Turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. If you are listening on Spotify, give me a follow and a rating over there, and I'll see you guys back for it'll be a quick game review of the Sunday games because this one's coming out so late. But anyway, I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.